Hey everybody. So I forgot to live. I forgot live this morning. Hey, there's Chloethedev. So I'm going live for the second time today. It's going to be really short. I had a pretty good day today. Class pretty easy, pretty simple. I had stats, which seems like it's going to be a really easy class. Pretty much just teaching how to read graphs, how to take data out of graphs and charts and input data into charts so far. Pretty easy. Key concepts also going to be easy. The hardest class I think I'm going to have this semester is called some key concepts in math course. It's like floor, ceiling, finding exponents, log this, slope, discrete math. So discrete math is my hardest. I like discrete math though. I do like cryptography. I do like encryption. I do like discrete math. It's a lot of repetition, a lot of memorization. That's not as good as that at that. So that's gonna be a bit rough for me. Aside from that, I had a little fun today with Ethers.js. Usually I use Web3.js, and I'm pretty good at Web3.js a little bit, I guess. I've used it for quite a while. So basically, these are basically just two different libraries that you would use to or query or use the Ethereum network. So normally when you're building an application, you use some sort of backend to carry on the state of your application. So basically, if you have a banking application, the state would be your users, it would be their balances, and it would be all that stuff. Use a database for that. So for the database, the database for the backend, you might use Amazon Web Services or Google Storage or Amazon Azure or whatever backend you want to use, and you got to connect to that backend. So you would use Node.js or MongoDB, whatever way you do it. MongoDB would be a backend, but you connect to MongoDB with Node, whatever. Point is, you connect to your backend with whatever services you had, Python or to Amazon or whatever. With Ethereum holds all your state. It doesn't have to hold all your state. So these days you get a lot of applications of Ethereum for some things, but not for everything. I think that's really cool. I think Ethereum is not the be all and end all of everything. I think that Ethereum is the base trustless layer of everything. And then I think you build on top of that in a multitude of ways. So if you're a builder, for example, if someone has a price feed, so Ethcan, it's a website, ethcan.com. They're a block explorer. So blockchains, because they have state in the blocks, you have to have an explorer. It's like having a file explorer on your Apple phone. You got to be able to search the file Apple phone and explore through, but only you need that search. So imagine everyone in the world needs to search through your Apple phone. They would all need a web. It's like Google for Ethereum. We're all searching through to find the files because Ethereum is like a global computer. So basically, we all have access to this computer. I know that sounds kind of weird. But imagine everyone had a username and password to store things on your phone. That's pretty much what Ethereum is like. But instead of only being on your phone, it's on everyone's phone. So if you delete it off your phone, the information is still there because it's on everyone else's phones. So the reason you can trust Ethereum as the base layer is because that information that's on Ethereum is on everyone else's Ethereum nodes. You don't have an Ethereum node. So for me, I don't run my own local node. It is an issue for me. I want to start running my own local node. I do have a PC hooked up that I will run a node on. I can hook up to it locally, which would be amazing to hook up to my laptop that way. With Ethereum 2.0, it'll be proof of stake instead of proof of work. Proof of work is what Bitcoin uses. It's basically where you use computing power and energy and resources to secure the network and find the latest block, which is just a hash algorithm. You find a bunch of leading zeros and a number. It's pretty stupid. It's an ingenious way to so dumb. Not even the fact that you're wasting electricity. It goes beyond that. You're wasting computing power. Like, think about that. That computing power could be used on more than just finding a leading zero. It could be used to cure cancer and do research and cure diseases and stuff. And I know that adds an idea of centralization to it, but on Ethereum, if you had proof of work in that type of way, you could have it so that Ethereum holders could vote on where that proof of work gets spent in a decentralized way, and different charities and things like Gitcoin grants, quadratic funding type of way. We can have quadratic funding for where the money goes, where the energy goes, where the computing power goes. Instead, it's literally wasted, which bothers me so much. At least with Ethereum, I hope Bitcoin keeps going with proof of work. I think it's a really good idea. I think the idea that you could have this many people working toward a common goal in anything in the world is amazing. So the fact that Bitcoin has billions of dollars in computers literally sitting somewhere mining blows my mind. People are spending hundreds of millions creating companies, all this money just to plug in computers, just waste electricity, just to mine Bitcoin. That's so much value derived from a system, a monetary policy. That's amazing. But I want to see Bitcoin use that hash power for something useful. Why doesn't Bitcoin use its hash power to cure cancer or do something that we could all believe is a common good? Securing money is a common good. Securing money is good. But can we secure everything else? And I think that's Ethereum's plan. Proof of work and smart contracts is a way to get there. I think proof of stake, as for consensus mechanisms, makes more sense. I think that wasting electricity in a proof of work type of way makes no sense. I think if you use that electricity for something to benefit mankind or humankind, I think that Bitcoin would have a very strong use case as proof of work for that. And I want to see proof of work, the consensus mechanism, as an actual way we do the Bitcoin paper. I want to see that progress and continue for hundreds of years. That would be really cool. But the only way I see that working is if somehow miners aren't just doing it for the good of their economic wallets. They have to be doing it for some sort of humanistic good, like some altruistic reasons. Yes, you still get Bitcoin. Yes, you still get paid. Yes, it still has economic value. Yes, it still has computing power. But why can't we all just agree that, I'm not saying use all the computing power. Obviously, you have to have the difficulty high on the algorithm. But the difficulty can be on computing anything. It doesn't have to be on computing the largest number of leading zeros. It can be on computing any, and I get it. The largest number of leading zeros, it's hard. You can't really hack that. If you change the algorithm often, you could hack the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you could have an algorithm checker that made sure the algorithm had a certain level of difficulty. We have proofs, right? You could run any algorithm. When you had your decentralized way of verifying who was going to be the next algorithm that the hash power from Bitcoin went towards, when you were deciding that, you couldn't just put it in. You'd have a system that checked to make sure that the algorithm that was going to be checked had sufficient difficulty to match the hash rate you're currently at anyways. You just put all that into code, which is what Ethereum, and you know what? This is what I think we're going to see Ethereum Classic do, because it's what it can do. Bitcoin can't do it. Bitcoin SV, okay, fine. I mean, different Bitcoins are different Bitcoins. They can do whatever they want. But I think we're going to see Ethereum Classic do some really cool things with proof of work, because Ethereum wants to stay proof of work, and I think they should. That's great. Maybe they'll borrow from some of beacon chain security. I think that's a thing. I think a lot of chains will do that. I think they'll just write in their code a way to write into beacon chain so that they can work with the rest of Ethereum. Yes, it will require a certain level of tooling, but why wouldn't you just build into your chain, if it was possible, if you were starting your chain in 2022, is what I'm trying to say, really, or if you had enough funding to retool your chain to fit the beacon chain of Ethereum, even Bitcoin, there's going to be a fork of Bitcoin that's just a shard on Ethereum, if that's what I'm perceiving to be. Now, I could be completely wrong, but in my opinion, you have a beacon chain and you have shards off of it, and everyone thinks we're going to be on one shard anyway. So what I think we're going to see different execution environments on different shards that all rely on the security of beacon chain, and everyone's staking, but they have their own execution environments and own little rules. And I think I have hearing that you could have put Bitcoin as a shard on Ethereum too. And if you could put Bitcoin as a shard on Ethereum too, that means that you'd have to use the security of proof of work, the consensus mechanism and security of proof of work first, I suppose, as being what decides the next block. But the state of Bitcoin could be settled, I would assume, on Ethereum. So that instead of having all that state stored on Bitcoin, you could still have the proof of work. You could still have people mine their Bitcoin, do the proof of work algorithm, but you wouldn't have as much issue with the state. You're just taking away all the issue of having to like borrow the state from Ethereum, from what I understand. You pay the Ethereum transaction fees, which would be low. And if you're staying within your Bitcoin environment, you just pay the Bitcoin fees, which would be lower because there's less state to deal with, I would assume. Okay, don't get me wrong. And then when you want to, you'd have interoperability easily without TBTCW. Well, WBC is different. That's just on it. But I'm saying you'd have interoperability relatively cheaply with other ETH chains. And that's the difference. That Ethereum is the world API. If you want to call it something, it's not even a world computer. Like, it is a world computer. You can do it's Turing complete. You can do operations on it. But what it is an API. And that's why I get so confused why they do things so poorly. Like, I'm not a very good developer. I am not. And I'm sitting here trying to find an API where I can find the price of Ethereum on chain. I guess that would be an Oracle. And I understand oracles are a hard issue. If this was an easy thing, everyone would do it. And these are the part of the issue that Chainlink and everyone else is trying to fix. But anyways, I built a little bot. I'm not sure I finished the story yet, but I'm going to finish it real quick. I built a little bot using Ethers.js that, because they have a free function. I don't know how they do it. It kind of is a segue into the point I'm trying to make. But Etherscan, which is a block explorer. Oh my God, I made a perfect segue. That's amazing. They have a free Oracle in their library. You can actually call on Ethers.js. You just call, I copy and paste the function. Let's be real. You just call the function and it gives you the price of ETH in US dollars. Just boom, beautiful, like that. Easy call. I could call it. And with Ethers.js, you just set you can't set default provider. You have to set Ethers provider dot Etherscan provider. It has to be Etherscan provider specifically. You have to connect to that node. That's what I mean about nodes. I don't have to run my own node. I connect to Etherscan's node specifically. And that node specifically provides me with a price oracle for Ethereum in US dollars. And I could obviously use that in my applications and trading bots and so many things. But my issue now is, okay, I tweeted it just a second ago. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to also link my GitHub in this video. So if you want to take my code, you can just take it. So I don't have to say, copy, do this, do that. I'm just going to link it. So it's not very good code. And it definitely has a bug somewhere, because it definitely bugged out for like a minute or one of the cycles bugged out. But I've never actually written like a full out script before that keeps running. So that was cool. I wrote it from scratch. First time for that too. I actually opened a blank file, made the index.js file, initialized my own package, JSON files, whatever, npm installed all my API, Ethers.js, I guess. I tried to use Coinbase APIs and Kyber APIs, and I tried to do everything on chain at first. Didn't work out well. I tried to do some off-chain stuff with Coinbase. Coinbase API sucks. Everyone says it sucks, okay? Everyone's like, oh, Coinbase API sucks. And I'm like, yeah, Coinbase API sucks. And then I tried using it, and it sucks. But Ethers.js was amazing. Amazing. Like, everyone says it. The guy, I watched so many conference talks about the guy, him talking about Ethers.js. Amazing. Documentation, so easy to use. I copy and paste stuff. It works. Thank you, Ethers. Ethers.js guy, the only guy I've seen on stage. Really, thank you. I appreciate you. The fact that I can connect without needing Infura, that I can just default provider and just whoop-de-doo. You are a literal godsend. You know how confusing it is to use Web3? And I need to go to Infura? And I get it. Web3, I think consensus probably product, Infura consensus product. I get it. Consensus. But as a developer who's just trying to test things and have fun, I don't want any of that. Like, someone needs to stop the whole truffle thing. Okay, please, if anyone ever sees this, please, I need something like Truffle. Truffle is a framework for developing smart contracts on Ethereum. Okay, lots of security, lots of testing, lots of things I can set and do. Ganache, it doesn't work. Okay, like, it works. Okay, on my Windows computer, I use Linux. If it doesn't work on Linux, it doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work. I don't care what you say. I'm using a Chromebook. I'm using Linux from like straight basic Linux with nothing on it, nothing crazy. I download all my stuff. It doesn't work. I'm using Chrome. If it doesn't work on Chrome, it doesn't work. My school website for buying my textbooks, I have a Chromebook, Pixelbook Go. I love it. It's great. I got Chrome. I use Wine to download Windows stuff and execute that. I can use my Chrome stuff. I can get Android stuff. It's great. My school bookstore will not allow you to buy things on Chrome. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Explain to me. I don't understand. So I'm sitting here loving my bot, though, because it kind of works. It works like 90% of the time. So I'm pretty excited about that, actually. For my first one, okay, it makes me feel more I'm learning C right now, and they say C is hard. I don't know. I like the harder languages, I think, because they're like lower level, and they're more like computers. And I think my brain just works more like a computer. And so the more computer-like it is, the more brain's like, yes, I understand this. And the more like, the more they abstract that away, the more I'm like, I'm so confused. Like, how did that happen? It's magic. I think that's the thing. When like front ends happens and use all these crazy frameworks and things just happen, I'm like, and then but then it breaks. I don't want to fix it. So with Truffle, it worked. Like drizzle boxes work great, right? When drizzle boxes on Truffle, it's basically you run one command and your whole framework is ready. Back end connected to front end, state changes ready. If you don't understand compute science and you're not a developer, you're not really going to get everything out of this channel. But if you're a new developer, you're thinking about developing, you're probably going to understand what I'm saying. You're going to enjoy what I'm saying. If you have any questions, just ask them. I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing. I'll send you links to what I'm talking about. I'm not going to put links in the bio, but I'll send you links if you ask for them because, internet seems to be working today. But I need something that works because right now I use JavaScript. I liked it. Svelte didn't work easily in Ethers.js. I might email you or tweet at you. Actually, I'll tweet at you, Ethers.js guy, if I find your Twitter soon, and I'll ask you to do something with Svelte. Easy implement. Actually, I'm gonna do that right. I have like all my like set. So I use set timeout in my code I didn't use set timeout, set interval. Set timeout was what I thought about using, but then it only iterated once and it was causing me on a bug. I use set interval in JavaScript. I don't know what any other language, I do not know. Okay. But what it does is it loops through something. It just does the function every interval of time. So I set 60,000 milliseconds. So every 60 seconds, it will check the price of Ethereum and tell me the price. And then I set it to also give me the percent change. That was kind of confusing. I had to use it took me hours. Oh my God, I was on my couch for hours. So it's not just a price checker. It actually gives you a percent change too, which seems to work. Math in computer programming confused the heck out of me because it's not math. Like JavaScript, math, it's not right. And it's funny because like I want to write trading bots one day. Like that would be fun for me if I could write trading bots one day on mainnet Ethereum. That would be my goal, I think, to write my own trading bots or like yield hackers. But I don't like yield hackers as much. I like things that are finite. I like things that are not like, ooh, let me take my DAI and move it around. Like, I'm like, no, let me take my 1,000 DAI and turn it into 1,001 DAI, add fees and taxes and whatever else happens. All Ethereum. I want to include mixers, because ideally, the goal, I don't know why I'm telling you all this. This is crazy. The goal is to have like a mainnet trading bot that's just run on a private key, just set a smart contract, good old fashioned Ethereum. I think this is the goal with all this type of stuff. Eventually, I don't know when this is going to happen, but no front end. Like, why would I ever want a front end? Why would I want buttons? Y'all are thinking all 2020. Why do I want buttons? I'm so confused. Like, y'all working on costs and all this exchange and shit. I don't want to sorry, I'm not going to swear. I don't want an exchange. I want to put my hard-earned money into a bot that trades for me. Okay? Trades for me. Once in a while, I'll set some new parameters to that bot. Okay? Maybe add a new contract. I'm going to keep my key. Okay? I'm going to be in charge of my finances. I'm going to make my bot. The point is, I want to create my bot to make minimum profitability on, like, let's say 1F. And let's say after a month, it has 1.1 ETH, I will be ecstatic. If I can have even if it was 1.1 after a year, if I can have a bot on main Ethereum gain in ETH, I'm happy. So the beauty of that, though, is that mainnet Ethereum isn't really ready for me. Like, it's not ready for that. It's not ready to be trading with, okay, I'm not rich. For the amount of gas fees there are and the amount of money I have, okay, I'm not ready for Ethereum 1. And Ethereum 2 isn't ready for me, put it that way. So by the time Ethereum 2 comes out, I'll be more in a place where gas fees should be at a rate, like on decentralized trading, I could actually potentially trade non-custodial on Loopring and afford that because they have they're basically almost free gas fees. Like, it's free. It's on chain. They're using ZK rollups, zero knowledge proofs, which we're doing proof systems in school, and definitely not zero knowledge proofs. But I enjoy proof systems, and that's why cryptography stuff. But they're using Loopring is using zero knowledge proof, zero knowledge rollup to basically roll a bunch of transactions all up to one on chain. And do a bunch of the work off chain, the computing power off chain, and then basically put the data on chain after the work is done. So basically using Ethereum for what it's for, putting in final data, and all Ethereum ever has to do is be receipts. It has to have no actual data. I mean, okay, some data, whatever. Okay, fine. But not a lot of that data has to change often. Put it that way, I guess is what I'm saying. A lot of that data can just stay there. And a lot of the work, the computing power, can be done off-chain. And Ethereum, all it has to be is a very secure network that the whole entire world trusts to put their receipts. Think about your home. You got to put your receipt somewhere. Or if you don't do it, your bank's doing it, right? So if you have it somewhere. If your bank didn't have that, you keep your receipts. Or what your parents or your the bank statements come in the mail, they keep those. My grandma has stacks of bank mails because she has to keep those receipts. If her computer gets water on it and it dies, she'll only get that back. She has her receipts. You always have a backup. If your house burns down, you have a backup. You go to the bank. If the bank goes bankrupt, you go to the Canadian government if you're Canadian, or you go to your government. There is always a backup of ledgers in the world. Always. Ledger is just a record, an accounting record. So your bank has ledgers, a record of how much money you have. So they don't just have one record of how much money you have, they have multiple. So they have one record of how much money you have with the bank, then they have the record of how much money you have at the bank. But then the Canadian government has a record of how much money the banks have, and the banks have a record of how much money like the smaller banks have. And those banks have a record of how much money you have. Then it commingles quite a bit in the middle of that. If you're all interested in all that kind of stuff and like decentralized finance and the history and future and current situation of money and finance. There's an MIT course called Blockchain and Money or Blockchain and Finance or something like that. I don't know. It's like 2016 or it was released 2018, but it was like talking about 2018 or 17. I don't know. But it's funny because a lot of the people, some people in that class actually run companies right now that I was investing in when I was trading, and I can like hear them talk like Zcash. One of the creators of Zcash, I think Amin, is in the class, and I'm hearing him talk about Zcash and like in 2017 in a recording, and that's the time when like my brother was like mining, I think trying to mine Zcash or whatever on his computer, but like, well, I don't know what he was trying to do, man. But he would trade Zcash, and I was like, I don't want no Zcash, blah blah. But it's funny because the recording was taking place at the exact same time that we were just trading it and whatever, and he's just a guy in MIT doing his thing, and that's amazing. It's funny. I think I need to make my eventual goal though. So this is like my personal goal is like to eventually, with stuff like this, if this Oracle, so the main idea is eventually this hopefully will become a little bot of mine that I'll put some funds into and have like automatically send like 10% of its balance to my son, because Ethers.js uses ENS domains, and my ex-wife got my son in an Argent wallet. It's like a really easy to use Ethereum wallet for like newcomers into the space. They just had a version 1 full release recently. It was really cool. So if you want to download a wallet, download Argent. If you want to remember name on there. So, oh, my connection is getting unstable. So I'm not sure if I come back. So I'm going to leave soon. But I could actually program the bot to automatically send funds to my son in the bot now with an easy to remember name, which is kind of cool. And my ex-wife would obviously be able to receive those and get those at any point in time. So even if I was testing bots out, or I was testing sending money, or sending money there, I could always send money on mainnet straight there. I think my biggest issue is going to be testing. I'm not very good at testing. Testing isn't that hard, and I can test. I know how to test. But testing in JavaScript is very, 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 very easy, okay? Because you just hit, okay, y'all people who develop normal stuff, you don't understand the blockchain life. And people develop on anything like Tron or like EOS, you don't get it. But if you develop on Bitcoin, that's just hell. I don't know how you do that. If you develop on Ethereum, that's rough. But man, you're developing on these things and 15-second transaction times. So if I see a good opportunity, I have to achieve it in those 15 seconds. So I have to know the gas price of the network and what price I have to pay in real money to make sure my order gets sent in that next transaction to make sure I have profit. Okay, that's one thing. If the gas price is too high, it cuts into my, so I send the trade maybe. But you can only estimate the future gas prices. You can never really know 100% the gas price. Ethers.js has a very easy gas checker. It's so cool. Thank you so much. So I can actually write in the code that it checks the gas. It's an estimator still, but it'll do that. But even still, I might lose money sometimes if it's really close. So I have to code a buffer into my code to make sure that if I send gas, even if the gas price spikes a little bit, I'm still making profit. Even still, I might lose money if it really spikes too much without me knowing, if gas prices are too high. So that's the first thing. Second of all, you might not even get included in that block. So if gas prices spike too much, you might lose money and not get included in the block, which means if you keep your order in and Ethereum, the gas price is so high and your order doesn't like 5 minutes, Ethereum could be 40% different by then, and you could lose half your money or more if you're doing margin. You could lose your whole account in 10 seconds if you use, or in 2 minutes if you do something like that, arguably, right? And that would be bad. So It's really important to also code in a way to automatically check if you got into that block, because you can check to see if you got into the next block. And if you didn't get into the next block, you have to recheck your profits. And if your profit, you have to send another transaction to cancel your transaction, and then so get your money back so you don't lose money on the difference in pricing, right? Because the prices have changed and you didn't get your transaction into the block. But then, what if the prices haven't changed enough? Or what if you got more profitable? So you sent an order in because you want 5% profit, right? You didn't get into the block. Oh no. But then 30 seconds goes by and now you're getting a 10% profit. If you just canceled your order every time you didn't get to the next block, you're losing potential profits. So you have to block you don't get in. But then you could be like, okay, no, you're just going to always check. Certain things you can just have it where you always watch certain things, and then when you're in profit, but either way, it goes both ways. It's crazy. I don't know. It's gonna be a lot test, and the biggest part of that is because everything's on mainnet, and mainnet costs money. How do you test? This is very cool, and this is why. It's getting better. It's getting better. Like, for example, now, what's happening is that when smart contracts are releasing like mainnets or testnets, they're releasing on all networks at the same time under the same contract address, right? So DAO, which is a really big decentralized finance companies, they have the DAI token, the stable token DAI. It's pegged 1-to-1 with the American dollar. It's used pretty good with the American dollar on par. It's used pretty well in decentralized finance. It is on peg with the American dollar usually. Sometimes you can actually make a lot of money trading the American dollar. I think the first bot I want to make is just trading DAI. I feel like it's the easiest thing to trade. It's always pegged dollar. Your bot can never do that bad because all you have to do is trade something so simple. Like if DAI goes to 0.01, you're going to buy some. And if you can just play the simplest bot and just have 100 DAI in there. When DAI goes to $1.01, you buy. When DAI goes to 99, you sell. Like, and that could just be what you do, honestly. And you'd probably make the gas prices would probably never be more than your profit because your profit would always be 1%, which would be $1, and your gas prices would always be less than $1. And you would just always have that profit. Once in a while, obviously, you could reassess your bot and you could just code it so it's dynamic. So all you have to do is set the variable. So all you would do is set what 1% range do you want it to fluctuate around. So if 1 is the median and you just set a number, so if you put 0.1 in there, it would, sell it above 0.1 and buy it below 99. And if you put, 0.005, it would do it, in a smaller range. You could just set a very simple 1-digit number, a 1-digit function that just runs code in a contract. Like you have a JavaScript code that runs with Ethers.js and calls functions in a smart contract, and you have one variable you set on your ledger that just changes that one variable, and then the owner of the smart contract is your ledger, and then no one can change that variable unless they have your ledger or your ledger's private key, so you know that the code is safe. The code never gets changed unless you change it, and it runs off of one variable. And I think that's going to be my first bot that I run, and then obviously I want to think of a better way to do this because I want it to be an ETH. I don't want to hold DAI. The only way I want to hold DAI is if I'm locked. Like, babe, did you know that right now you can lock your ETH into a vault with MakerDAO and it's free? There's no stability fee anymore, right? There's no stability fee. So you lock your ETH up and you generate DAI. So basically you lock your ETH into a vault, into a smart contract. They will give you dollars, which you can then put into a dApp and get 10% of your interest. So for free, like for holding ETH, just for holding ETH. So go buy your 32 ETH that you need for your validator for holding 32 ETH. Put it into MakerDAO. You get free DAI, okay? Free. There's no more stability fee. Put that into Curve Finance, make 10% per year interest. Free. So I'm not saying you should do it. I'm not saying I should do it. I'm just saying when people say they don't understand Ethereum, when they say they don't understand Bitcoin, they say they don't understand cryptography and all this stuff, all you have to understand is Ethereum is secure because of computers. And people are greedy, and so they're betting on stuff. And they're using Ethereum to gamble and to buy stocks and sell things and hold assets and trade art. And they're doing all these things on Ethereum. But one of the things they're doing is betting on the prices of assets. And so they're willing to borrow money to do that. So them borrowing money has a fee of 10% a year, which they pay you for your money, which you get for free from locking up your ETH. Someone gets that. So someone's willing to take that risk, because the risk, everything has a risk, right? Everything in the world has a risk. The risk, if ETH goes down too much, you could either lose your money or lose a portion of your money, of your ETH, lose a portion of your ETH, or you have to put more ETH into your pot to make sure you don't lose any ETH. So you're basically on the hook. It's like you're on the hook. You're lending and lending and lending, but you're on the hook at the end of the day. You're like a bank. You could basically be a bank if you want right now and get 10% a year on your money on Ethereum in a verifiable, secure way where you can always check your money and no one can get your money out but you. And that's a pretty good value proposition for a lot of people. I would do it, actually, at today's ETH price. I just don't have enough backup capital to back myself up. It's kind of like the bank. The bank need back like just the backstop, or just like the extra money that just to make sure that if anything happens, they got this extra money pulling in, so like they'll backstop the stock market, so they can print more money and put more money into the stock market so that things won't get messed up. Kind of like that. If one day, like anything could happen, it's on chain. So if I had all my money in Ethereum and Ethereum was my vault, yay, I'm doing great. I'm printing free money. I'm giving Bianca presents for getting all this free money. What happens if Ethereum drops 70% in 24 hours? Right. There are flash loans now that you can use to save your collateral. So what it'll do is actually it'll use money in your own account, right? Because you have money in your own account, you have your own ETH, and you're afraid you're going to lose your ETH because the ETH price is dropping. Before you lose your ETH, it'll use your own ETH that's locked up to pay a small fee, like a few cents, to borrow whatever ETH is required, whatever's needed. It can do millions and millions and millions of ETH to pay back your loan and make sure you don't lose your money. So that has made it pretty secure to where now I feel pretty comfortable that I can keep the majority of my net worth in Ethereum. And as long as I could have my vault that I mint free DAI with, I could have DeFi Saver secure my vault. DeFi Saver is the dApp that'll do that for you. They will secure my vault. But still, I'm not in a financially secure enough place, because technically, let's say 60 million is available to be flash loaned, so securing these vaults. So 60 million is available. That's enough for me, of course, right? But what if Ethereum crashes so fast that everyone is using that 60 million? If everyone is trying to use that money at the same time, it'll depend who uses it fastest. And if I'm using an automated service to secure my loans, the people who are using their own custom services will definitely get there first to use custom gas prices. Remember, everything's priced in on Ethereum, and then I'll lose my money. So it's kind of one of those things, it's a little catch-22. If I had more money, I'd do it, and it would make me more money. But because I don't have, oh my gosh, because I don't have much money, I'm not going to do it. But this is really long. I'm going to end this. I need some water. So Chloethedev out. Hope you're all doing great. Bianca and I are going to go for a long walk. I feel like I want to die. Okay. Bianca and I are going to go for a walk tomorrow. Love you all. Hope you're all doing great. This was way too long. 40 minutes. Y'all crazy up in here. But I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. Yeah. Love y'all. Hope you're doing